So this is a quick teaching video on the ratio test. First of all, I just want to talk about the ratio test for a minute. The P, so this is you see in front of you the ratio test. Basically what you're doing is looking at the ratio of one term to the term, or from a term to the term after it, or a term and the term before it. We're looking at the ratio from term to term. And basically, if that ratio is less than 1, then it converges. If it's greater than 1, then it diverges. So this is a little bit challenging because I think some of you might be dealing with a sub n and a sub n plus 1 might be a little bit challenging for some of you. So here's an example of one where, let's say, we have the summation n running from 1 to infinity of 2 to the n over n factorial. So this is clearly not, you're not going to be able to do a comparison test here because of the n factorial. We don't know what to do with that. And so often when there's n factorial involved, we're going to use the ratio test. Okay, so what we're going to do is set up our p. Our p is equal to the limit of, as n approaches infinity, of, now a sub n plus 1, okay, absolute value, that would be 2 to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 factorial. And then I'm going to divide by a sub n, which, since it's a fraction, I'll just flip it over and multiply. So that would be n factorial on top and 2 to the n on the bottom. And all that's in the absolute value. Okay, so now this is where it gets a little bit tricky because some of us are not used to dealing with this kind of stuff. So first of all, when I cancel a 2 to the n plus 1 and a 2 to the n, you get a 2, because this just has one more factor of 2 than that one does. And then when you compare n factorial to n plus 1 factorial, that would be like a 5 factorial over a 6 factorial. You see how if we call 5 n, then 6 would be n plus 1. But we're talking factorial, right? And if you remember, 5 factorial means 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 6 factorial means 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So we could say that 6 factorial is equal to 6 times 5 factorial, couldn't we? Notice the 5 factorials cancel out. So the same is true. We could say that we could say that, I guess I could just move over here. N plus 1 factorial is equal to n plus 1 times n factorial. Right? So that means when I have an n factorial on top and n plus 1 factorial on the bottom, that's going to leave just an n plus 1 on the bottom. Okay, so then I let n approach infinity. So that means, notice in this case, the top is set. The bottom is growing. And so that thing is headed towards 0. So then we check, is my p is less than 1 because 0 is less than 1. So that means, therefore, okay, so which is less than 1, therefore the summation of 2 to the n over n factorial as n approaches 1 to infinity, n starting at 1 running to infinity, converges. Because we got a p less than 1. Okay, so that's a quick little teaching video on the ratio test.